The next document that we're going to create for our playlist is the pre-lesson liturgy, okay? And that's basically this whole section from the invocation, opening prayer, confession of sins, and words of forgiveness, okay? That's what called the pre-lesson liturgy. And to do this, we have to create a new document because obviously this is specific to this week. So to do that, we're going to go into ProPresenter. We're going to click on New, and we're going to call this Year, Month, Day, Pre-Lesson Liturgy. Okay, make sure that the size is 1920 by 1080. And we're going to go into template and we're going to change this. We're going to go to the liturgy part section and do responsive because this is a back and forth between the pastor and the congregation. Okay, once we've got all that in there, we click new. We see this new document shows up in our library. Once again, we have to make sure that we click it and drag it into our playlist. So now it shows up there. Okay, now we're going to start creating this document. So you highlight the first slide and you go into editor. Okay, the formatting for this template's already been done for you, so you just have to modify it. So you're going to click up in the top, and the first section is the invocation. Okay, now you're going to click in this section to activate that text box. Get your cursor at the beginning. We're going to go into Word and once again cut and paste. Cut and paste. And when we paste, we're going to do an edit, paste, and match style because remember the formatting's already been done. Now when we do this, we can see that these lines aren't all lined up. So you have to go back and delete a space so that they do line up. Typically, we will do what the pastor says on one side and then what the congregation's response is on another slide. This kind of varies a little bit based on how much it is. You don't want to just have one word on a slide, but typically you'll split it between those breaks, but you can also, if necessary, keep it on one slide. But I think I am going to split it, so I'm going to go here into reflow editor, and I'm going to insert slide break. Okay, and then I'm also going to go back and make sure I go into editor. Anything that the congregation responds is in bold. Okay, so you highlight it, you select it, and then you hit bold right there. If by chance you get out of this section, you can see there's several sections here. The ones that allows you to change the font and edit the font is this one that has the A in there. Okay, so now I'm going to X out of there. I X out of editor, and here I am. Now I'm going to go here and add a slide for the next section. And we'll see that right here, the invocation. So I only copy one section at a time. So this next section is the opening prayer. And that goes from here all the way to there. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. Go back into ProPresenter. Click on the slide. I need to edit the slide, so I'm going to double click this. Change this to opening prayer. Edit, paste and match style, and then you see this is kind of a mess. So we're going to have to go in and modify this a little bit, but at least you have it in there. So the first thing that we're going to do is go into the reflow. Okay, and you see this, we're going to insert breaks after each change in section. And this is just kind of personal preference, and you play around with it a little bit to get what you think looks the best, and there's no hard set rules. One of the rules is that you don't typically want any words to go beyond about halfway down the slide, because then people in the back, it might be hard to see the lower section if there's people sitting or standing in front of them. So if at all possible, you want to kind of keep all the words to the top portion of the slide. just going to finish this up. Okay, and insert the last one. All right, so now take a look. So you've got the invocation. Okay, now we go to opening prayer. You see, once I did that reflow editor, opening prayer title continued throughout all of these. So I didn't have to add opening prayer to each one of them. It just kind of populated. Okay, that all looks pretty good, but now I need to go into editor because once again, you gotta delete the spaces so that they work. Okay, so this one we're gonna delete. This is a congregational response, so we also make it bold. And then that worked out well because now there's at least 2 words on the last line. Like this, you wouldn't want to keep just us on that line, so what you might do is pull it this way a little bit. You never want to pull this way because you want that to be uniform every time you click. Okay, even a small adjustment will cause a distraction. So, but you can pull it a little bit on this end to make it fit better. Here's congregational response, so you're going to make that bold, and then you have to delete that one line. Again, see it match there. You can see, and let's see, maybe we'll try and pull this out a little bit. That didn't really work very well. It killed the still last line. Bring the spacing down. That got it. So we got it to -1. Okay, here's the congregational response. So fix that 1 point so it's all aligned. Select it all. Hit bold right there. Okay, got kingdom down there on the last line. Still not helpful. What I'm going to do is select it all, bring it down to 1, and there you go. It all fits fine. Here, modify that. And here, take out that line, and we have to highlight all of that. Okay. We still have all these we gotta do. So go in here. That's good. Here. Bold. Here is good. And here is bold. That's one over. There we go. Alright, so now we have our invocation and all of our opening prayer. I'm going to click down here in the bottom. I'm going to add another one because this section has a new header. So you go into editor again so you can actually edit this stuff. Go into your Word document, go to Confession of Sins, copy, and oops, let's see, this is Confession of Sins. Let's see, that's too big, so you want to keep it on one line, so you're going to stretch that and stretch that, and it'll automatically center itself. Double click down there, do edit, paste and match style, and now you can see we obviously can't have all of this on one slide, so you're going to click on that slide, click reflow, and come down here. Now let's see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see here, this is what it looks like when I made that split. Okay, so that part looks good. Here is the other split. This is the congregational response, still way too much on there. So now you're going to go in here and just kind of find natural breaks, which are typically sentences, or beginning of new sentences or something like that. So this is still kind of a long response. So here's the end of a sentence. I'm gonna hit insert slide break, and now we're a little bit more normal. Now every time you do that with a responsive part, you have to make sure that you put either the C or the P back in so we know who's saying what. Okay, so now we have Confession of Sin. So now we just have to go through there and make sure it looks edited. Let's see. This is that. And add that, bold that because it's the responsive part, and bold. Okay, so now we're going to say that we're all done with that entire section. Okay, we're going to go down here. Typically at the bottom is where our service backgrounds are, or our sermon series backgrounds are. Here's the one. We're going to put it over the front slide. The first slide, we're going to right click, add Q, clear background. Right click, add Q, standard. Okay, now this background will show up on every single slide until we tell it not to. Okay, so for this whole document, it'll keep that as the background. And now you're all set with that part.